Cryptocurrency, I mean, it's the new wave. It's what everybody's doing.
Ethereum is going to $10,000 and Bitcoin is going to $100,000.
I think what's going on definitely will come to a bad ending.
There's a good chance that crypto is the future currency of Earth.
The first and most well-known is Bitcoin, followed by Ethereum. There's a crypto for everything, including poo and pornography. And let's not forget that joke currency based on a dog meme that Elon Musk has been spooking.
It's a cryptocurrency you can trade for conventional money.
There are more than 5,000 cryptocurrencies out there worth over $2 trillion. That's almost as much as Australia's top 200 companies on the ASX. The idea behind digital currencies like Bitcoin was to create an alternative payment method which cuts out the middleman. That means instead of a bank recording when money leaves one account and reaches another, the user logs into their digital wallet with a private key, and the transaction is shared with thousands of computers on the decentralized Bitcoin network. They race against each other to verify the purchase by solving a complex math puzzle. The first of these miners to solve it gets rewarded with newly minted Bitcoin. Once the transaction is approved, a block is created. It's then added or chained to a shared list of all the transactions ever made. That's called the blockchain.
There's a limit to how many Bitcoins will be minted. That's 21 million.
Bitcoin mining consumes a lot of energy. In 1 year, it uses up more power than countries like the Netherlands. On the plus side, this inefficiency makes it practically impossible to hack, as it would be insanely expensive to tamper with thousands of computers worldwide at the same time. The first ever Bitcoin transaction was made more than a decade ago. Some guy in Florida bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin, which was worth about $40 US at the time. But if he had held onto them, they'd be worth over $350 million. So that turned out to be the most expensive pizza in history. Bitcoin was created in 2009 by mysterious coder Satoshi Nakamoto. Since then, it's been a roller coaster ride with a few booms and crashes along the way. It surged to a record high of nearly $65,000 US before losing half its value in a month. Thanks to Tesla boss Elon Musk.
Father, everybody. To the moon!
Tesla pumped $1.5 billion US into Bitcoin and said customers could buy its cars using the digital currency, before Elon Musk quickly changed his mind over environmental concerns. Then he backflipped again, saying Bitcoin payments would be allowed if more miners used clean energy. China has also banned its banks from providing services related to crypto transactions. And a former US president weighed in.
Bitcoin, it just seems like a scam.
Se aprueba la ley en términos generales.
The first country to take Bitcoin as legal tender is El Salvador, and some say other nations might follow suit.
In underdeveloped economies, people tend to save in Bitcoin because their currencies are devaluating very rapidly. So Bitcoin gives them a chance to keep their savings.
But regulators are concerned that crypto transactions are relatively anonymous, making it popular with hackers and organised crime gangs for money laundering.
And once you've got the QR code, we zap that through.
Another reason why Bitcoin hasn't been taken up more widely? The transaction fees, anywhere from a few cents to $80 this year. Plus, it's slow. The network can only handle 7 transactions per second, compared to Visa, which can do thousands.
It's still quite a early adaption payment method, so I think they're going to have to work out their system and get a bit more stability.
Instead of spending their Bitcoin, most people are buying it just to hold on to it, like gold. Some see it as a safe haven asset to preserve their wealth in times of uncertainty, but unlike gold, Bitcoin is extremely volatile. It's not a reliable store of value, as its price can rise and fall by thousands of dollars each day. Despite that, Bitcoin supporters reckon it's got a shiny future.
Well, for more, we're joined by AMP Chief Economist Shane Oliver and founder of Finder.com and crypto exchange Hivex, Fred Chibesta, to discuss the benefits and pitfalls of cryptocurrencies. Shane, I'll begin with you. You recently wrote that digital currency and blockchain technology may have a lot to offer, but you don't think that Bitcoin will cut it as a digital currency. Why is that? What are the pitfalls?
Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons for my scepticism. Firstly, as a currency, it has to be acceptable as a currency. And the trouble is that to do a Bitcoin transaction will take you typically about 10 minutes. And that's a function of the way the Bitcoin miners have to validate each transaction. The average cost is getting higher and higher per transaction. We're running at around $30 a transaction. It's incredibly volatile. So if you're looking to spend some Bitcoin, you don't know whether it's going to be up 20% or down 20%. So that gives it a degree of unreliability. On top of that, there's a whole bunch of other issues. It's vulnerable to hacking, security issues. Recently, we saw the FBI get into Bitcoin, a Russian hacker, and get the money back from a ransom attack that had on a US company. So that raises questions about its security. It's bad for the environment. Bitcoin.
I just reject all of those things.
I thought you would, Fred.
You will get a moment in just a second.
Lightning Network is free. It doesn't cost anything, and it's instant. The second thing is, fundamentally, Bitcoin's never been hacked. It's not been hacked. And that's just, there's too many petahashes protecting it. Maybe that computer got hacked, but it has never been hacked. And it is open source. If it would have been hacked, the whole thing would have gone to zero. And anyway, if the hackers hacked it and it went to zero, they would be hacking their own money anyway.
But I think what Shane was discussing there, alluding to, was the US authorities were able to get back the Bitcoin from that ransomware.
Yeah, we don't know how they did it, but they managed to get in there and get it back.
But they just hacked their computer and got it back.
Okay. Well, I'm going to give you a moment in just a second, Fred, but if you'd like to finish.
I mean, the flip side, an aspect of that is if your bank account is hacked, your bank will reinstate the money. So you've got another authority backing you up, whereas Bitcoin, you're on your own, basically, or any other cryptocurrency. As I was saying, it is bad for the environment. The security that supposedly comes from Bitcoin is the mining activity that's generating more and more, or requiring more and more computational skills or algorithms to be solved, which generates a lot of electricity use. So at present, Bitcoin is using the same amount of energy per annum as a country like Sweden or Argentina. On top of all of this, I kind of wonder whether governments are going to crack down more hard on it for several reasons. One, there's the ransomware issue, which is causing real problems. If you're in the east coast of the US, there was a time there where they were running out of fuel because of the Colonial Pipeline hack or ransomware problem. Recently with meat, issues around individual investors getting into Bitcoin, seeing there's huge runs up and down. Will governments want to give up on their own currencies? Will they want to give up on their control of their monetary policy? And why won't they just do it themselves? And I reckon that's probably going to be the path they'll go down.
All right, well, lots of points there, Fred. You run a crypto exchange and you want to set up Australia's first crypto bank. Why do you have such faith in the sector? And how can you mitigate against some of these risks that Shane just outlined?
Well, the most energy actually goes into the ground. Any energy, if the most amount of electricity that's produced, gets actually put into the ground because we actually are very inefficient in producing energy. Energy only actually goes to where the market wants, and right now it's going to Bitcoin. So all those fairy lights, Netflix people, GIFs on the computer, all that kind of stuff, yeah, the energy is going there, and you could say maybe that's one thing it's being used for. But what about actually protecting a network which allows people to control their money, escape financial systems, which, like in Venezuela, high inflation places like Argentina, do instant transactions on the Lightning Network, which costs $0, by the way. And El Salvador, as a country, just ruled it as legal tender. In other words, legally, a vendor must accept it. And the reason why I have so much faith in it, fundamentally, is that you can now exit the financial system. You're allowed to. If they were going to ban Bitcoin, that's not going to do anything. You could just go to another coin. There's plenty of other places to go.
So given that you're looking to set up Australia's first crypto bank, how big a challenge do you think that this asset could be to the traditional banking sector, especially when we know the points that Shane just made, it's volatile, there are some issues with security around it, as we've seen, and it could be subject to further government regulations?
I think government regulation is great. Bring it on. And right now we're having a Senate inquiry in fintech led by Andrew Bragg. And he's a great senator and he understands the space, and we're about to put more regulation and legislation around it. And finally, it's getting more recognised. The ATO's written about it. Jerome Powell talks about it as digital gold as well. Essentially, if you want to break this down, Bitcoin's just digital gold. It's not a big deal. It's this new thing. It is a revolution. The actual thing that spawns is I think what governments should be, I guess, are more concerned about are stable coins. Stable coins are a one-to-one representation of any particular currency. And so those things are actually pegged one-to-one. And those are instant transactions. At its core for us as a, if we're going to offer a crypto bank, there are things now where banks don't give you interest anymore. They don't give you, they basically, they take your money.
In a low interest rate environment.
Yeah, all around the world, yield's a problem. We compare rates all around the world. It's about 0.5, sometimes even negative interest rates. And we want to change that. We want to create a bank where actually the bank pays you money. Now, unlike any other, fiat currencies, cryptocurrency allows you to stake your coins and you earn interest. And that's unique. And the reason that's possible is because it's decentralized and run by the people.
Okay.
I think all those things are fantastic, and I can understand a desire to get away from government, which at times have inflated or deflated the value of their currency. But I'm not entirely sure that Bitcoin is going to be it. There's 9,800 coins out there. Many of them were created as a joke. Their value or their price is often dependent on the whim of a billionaire, what he says on Twitter or a rumour flying around. It's very hard to put a fundamental value on any of this, and it's all very good to say, well, we're going to pay an interest rate, but where's that going to come? Bitcoin does not generate a rent or interest or earnings.
I reject that.
It's not an
entirely.
asset producing anything per
does.
se.
You rent it to traders. So traders who want to trade it, you rent it to them. It's between 2 to 4%. This is a massive market already has around, I'd say, $20 to $25 billion of cryptocurrency staked into it. And it's the entire reason why this market, Bitcoin price hasn't tanked as far, because everyone's staking their coins and they're long-term holders.
But
that's basically trading.
Hasn't it? Almost 50%.
Yeah, but it's past its all-time high of 20,000. And when it was $1, it was a bubble. When it was $10, it was a bubble. It was $100, a bubble. 1,000, 10,000. When are we going to finally go, okay, this is going to last?
Okay, only a minute or so to go. What does the future hold for cryptos, Shane?
To be honest with you, I reckon governments will do it themselves. And the reason is that to get people adopting it in countries like Australia, where there is faith in the Australian dollar or the US dollar, unlike El Salvador, which tend to rely on the US dollar, people are only going to adopt it if they can see it backed by the government, if they can see someone backing it. I can't see people adopting Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency if it doesn't have that backing.
Okay, and for you, Fred, I mean, I know that I've read that you're paying your staff in crypto. There are other businesses that are doing that as well. Where does this all end for someone like you in your space and the business? Where can it take you?
I think we're about to create the new financial system, and every single financial institution is scared because we're bringing the new system where the people control the money and the actual systems are decentralized and it's not controlled by one central authority. And so we're going to change the game.
Is there a danger in that, though? Because we know that, say, currently in a traditional banking system, if someone takes money out of your account illegally and is hacked, that bank will usually stand by you. But with a crypto bank on a wallet, that doesn't necessarily happen. I mean, you lose your password, you might not even have access to your account.
Yeah. So if there are many instances in, like if you look at fraud, let's take fraud as a bigger example. There are lots of instances of fraud with banks where they don't pay you the money because you've contravened their terms and conditions. There's all sorts of schemes that have gone on through COVID, all sorts of things. And if we're talking about like actual money, what that fiat money is currently doing, what do you think happens with all the cash right now? We should probably have a little question mark and inquiry into that versus having a look at actually Bitcoin, which is tracked by the blockchain. And the reason why the feds can actually find what it is because it's all publicly displayed. Mm-hmm. If you lose your password, yeah, I totally understand that. But there are systems and ways where you can give that custody to other people and you can just have a PIN and a password, just like the Finder app where you can actually get Bitcoin.
Fascinating to chat to you both. We are out of time, but thank you both for your time. Fred Chibesta, Shane Oliver, thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.